Caution. The news you are about to view is exciting, informative, and generally factual. Our upcoming narratives tackle real-world events, politics, culture, and social affairs, served with a generous side of satire. Expect sharp wit and exaggerated irony that are ridiculously and undeniably accurate.
And in today's top story, Earth continues its slow roast as climate change turns up the heat again. Scientists call it a crisis, politicians call it weather, and billionaires are busy buying beachfront bunkers in the Rockies. But don't worry, folks, your local council has just approved 2 new recycling bins and a strongly worded brochure. Welcome, I'm Dalai Lama. Stay calm and sweat responsibly. Now let's get to the news, sports, predictions, and our Chloe with a movie review.
In today's climate news, or as we now call it, daily apocalypse updates, the planet continues its slow roast while world leaders bravely gather for more catered meetings and heartfelt shrugs. Scientists warn we're approaching irreversible tipping points. But don't worry. Your local politician just planted a tree and promised real change by 2050. Hi, I'm Monica Boulevard. Hope you like it hot. Speaking of hot, we have a celebrity commentary on our subject tonight.
Here is my news report on the July 2025 climate chaos, complete with headlines that sound too ridiculous to be true, but alas, are real. First, in light of the destruction we see in the changes about us, we must look at what our world leaders are doing to curb the dismantling of our gardens. Certainly our world leaders have matters under control, right? I mean, they do have a plan, don't they? As wildfires rage across 3 continents, oceans boil like a lobster pot, and Canada reports its first official heat tornado, world governments have risen to the occasion with the kind of bold, decisive action we've come to expect, forming committees, delivering stirring speeches, and suggesting perhaps we all just turn down the thermostat a little. In the some greener places, perhaps even the U.S., leaders address the nation from a golf course submerged halfway in flood water, reassuring citizens that we're monitoring the situation with great interest while teeing off toward a floating porta potty. Meanwhile, Congress debated a bill titled the Responsible Climate Response and Freedom Burrito Act, which allocated $400 million to consultants, lobbyists, and a new National Day of Reflective Concern. Across the pond, the UK Parliament held an emergency session in which MPs furiously blamed each other for everything from rising sea levels to soggy crumpets. We must act now, declared one MP, but let's be clear, we mean politically, not literally. Plans to paint London rooftops white to deflect the sun were scrapped after realizing it might slightly inconvenience pigeons. In Australia, where kangaroos have begun migrating north in protest, the government launched a #CoolDownMate campaign, encouraging citizens to chill out, both mentally and physically. The campaign featured influencers posing in swimming pools while standing near buckets labeled "Don't worry, it's just El Niño." The European Union, meanwhile, called for a Green Reflection Week, in which leaders flew to a climate summit in the Alps via private jet convoy, to agree that something really ought to be done, preferably after summer vacation. China responded by building a giant air-conditioned dome over a city of 40 million. India announced it would plant 20 billion trees by 2090, mostly on paper. And the UN? It issued a strongly worded tweet. As glaciers disappear faster than political accountability and bees file for diplomatic asylum, one thing is clear. The planet may be burning, but the bureaucratic boilerplate is hotter than ever. Stay tuned as our leaders continue to bravely battle climate change, one press conference, one shrug, and one reusable water bottle photo op at a time. Okay, Monica, give us the more before the sun melts your more the more.
Right, Dolly. It truly has been a momentous period of time with the changing we see in the world. We certainly have seen nature take a ferocious course, and perhaps we are more aware about our situation because of the development of science and media. Well, for now we'll stick with our current time period. I give you the 2025 Climate Catastrophe Report. Anchor, deadpan good evening. It's July 2025, and Mother Nature has decided to unleash her moodiest side. Think teenage rebellion, but with wildfires, floods, and heat waves in every act. Mediterranean sun equals pyromaniac playground. Southern Europe, already auditioning for world's largest frying pan, has gone full scorched earth. Greece, France, Spain, Turkey, and even Scotland are ablaze. In Turkey's Izmir province, wildfires, fueled by wind gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour and temps some 5 to 10 degrees Celsius above seasonal norms, prompted the evacuation of over 50,000 residents and the temporary closure of the airport. Reuters +3 Wikipedia +3 Wikipedia +3. Meanwhile, southern France's Marseille airport shut down as firefighters wrangled 700 hectares of flames born from a rogue car fire. Reuters +1. Texas turns into Noah's sequel. In what's quickly becoming the most catastrophic sequel nobody asked for, Central Texas experienced flash floods that feel like plot armor failure. Over 100 people are confirmed dead, many children among them, and 180 still missing after the Guadalupe River jumped 26 feet in under an hour on July 4 to 7. Wikipedia +1 Reuters +1. Sounds like the water forgot it was summer vacation. Europe's heat wave hits like a rock star. Meanwhile, a European heat wave so intense it's being linked to 1,500 deaths, mostly among the elderly, has boiled cities like Milan, Paris, and Barcelona. Smart Water Magazine +6 The Guardian +6 Axios +6 Climate Cosmos +3 AP News +3 The Guardian +3. And here's a twist. The butter in your fridge isn't the only thing melting, so are insurance markets. California's Madre Fire. Not mother's love. Back in the States, California's largest wildfire of 2025, the Madre Fire, has engulfed over 80,000 acres near San Luis Obispo. It's currently 35% contained, presumably because Mother Nature is really not in the mood. Wikipedia. Pakistan's monsoon is just showing off. To the east, northern Pakistan is dealing with pre-monsoon flash floods that have claimed nearly 80 lives. Provincial officials are reportedly scrambling to figure out who forgot to hit snooze on climate change. So, what have we learned? If Earth were a streaming service, we'd definitely be in the climate horror genre. Next week, glaciers join the gig economy as tropical islands. Stay tuned, or swim. Tonight we have a special commentary by someone with the initials OW. We turn the time to you now, Miss OW.
Thank you for giving me this moment to delight you with my knowledge. The elites of Hollywood have long shaped popular imagination, crafting visions of the future that often blend spectacle with subtle prophecy. When it comes to climate change, their cinematic predictions and public postures paint a future that is both cautionary and fantastical. Cultural architects are increasingly projecting a world destabilized by rising temperatures, disappearing coastlines, mass migrations, and the collapse of familiar systems.
And whether through blockbuster dystopias or climate-themed documentaries, they are signaling a worldview where climate change is not just a backdrop, but the central character in humanity's unfolding drama. On screen, the trend is unmistakable. Films like Don't Look Up, Interstellar, Snowpiercer, and The Day After Tomorrow reflect anxieties not just about environmental collapse, but about the failure of governments and institutions to respond meaningfully. The future in these narratives is reactive rather than proactive, defined by desperation, not prevention. In Hollywood SIP's imagined future, survival often comes to the privileged few billionaires launching into space, corporations controlling food supplies, or elites living in climate-controlled sanctuaries while the masses endure chaos. It sips a reflection not only of climate fear, but also of the class divide, a recurring theme Hollywood elites themselves are paradoxically entangled in. Off-screen, many celebrities champion climate causes. Hollywood seeks to model environmental concern. Yet there's an underlying contradiction: the industry is carbon heavy. Entangled in. Off-screen, many celebrities champion climate causes. Hollywood seeks to model environmental concern. Yet there's an underlying contradiction: the industry is carbon heavy, from energy-intensive productions to frequent global travel. Their projected future may warn of catastrophe, but it's filtered through an infrastructure built on consumption and spectacle. Ultimately, Hollywood sits elite. ARN sits just imagining climate futures. They sit shaping how millions emotionally process them. Through storytelling, they deliver warnings dressed in drama, urgency hidden in entertainment. Whether these projections lead to awareness or apathy remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: in Hollywood's forecasts, climate change is no longer tomorrow's story. It's the setting of the main act. Thank you, Monica and Dolly, for allowing me to share my view today. This is Oprah signing out. Perhaps we can do this again sometime. Now, who's ready for a cookie?
The future of artificial intelligence is poised to redefine human experiences in ways both dazzling and profound. As AI continues to evolve, it promises to become more intuitive, adaptive, and seamlessly integrated into daily life, shaping industries, personal interactions, and the very nature of human creativity. Hello, I'm Lucia. Thank you for joining me as we explore and project the future. As artificial intelligence becomes increasingly sophisticated, its insights into environmental trends grow more urgent and more alarming. If there is one shared concern among climate scientists and AI-driven environmental models, it is this: the planet is approaching irreversible tipping points. These aren't mere hypotheticals, they're projections grounded in real-time data. AI systems, trained on decades of satellite imagery, oceanic measurements, and atmospheric chemistry, are painting a stark picture of Earth's near future. We're seeing rising sea levels threatening entire coastal populations, glaciers vanishing at record speeds, and the intensification of wildfires and hurricanes. AI doesn't offer opinions, it reveals patterns. And those patterns suggest that we may be entering an era of cascading natural disasters, where one event triggers another in a chain reaction. Deforestation in the Amazon, for instance, doesn't just reduce biodiversity, it alters rainfall patterns across continents. Melting Arctic ice doesn't just raise sea levels, it disturbs ocean currents that regulate global climate systems. The Earth's climate functions like a finely tuned machine, and we are recklessly removing its components. What's especially unsettling is that AI is flagging potential climate domino effects, where forest diebacks, coral reef collapse, and permafrost thaw could accelerate each other in unexpected and devastating ways. These models don't merely forecast, they warn. And they do so without emotion or bias, making their predictions all the more chilling. As inhabitants of this planet, our concern should be not only about what is changing, but how fast. AI is helping us see clearly what denial has kept hidden, that the next few decades could redefine Earth's habitability. The question is no longer if, but when, and whether we will act before nature forces us into irreversible outcomes. Now I would like to elucidate on the projected government response over the next decade. Governments across the globe are entering a critical phase in how they address climate destruction. Over the next 10 years, we can expect more aggressive and, at times, controversial operations aimed at curbing emissions and adapting to environmental shifts. Firstly, carbon regulations will tighten. Cap-and-trade systems and carbon taxation are likely to expand, with AI tools helping monitor compliance and identify industrial violators. Governments will also invest heavily in renewable energy infrastructure, wind, solar, and green hydrogen, while simultaneously phasing out fossil fuel subsidies. Expect global climate treaties to be enforced with stricter penalties. Disaster preparedness will become a central priority. Governments will use AI and satellite systems to track storm formations, wildfire risk, and drought conditions with increasing precision. Emergency response funding will grow, and National Guard units or civilian climate corps may be mobilized to fight fires, relocate climate refugees, or reinforce critical infrastructure. Urban planning will shift toward resilience. Building codes will be updated, coastal zoning will restrict new development, and smart cities will incorporate AI to reduce waste and optimize energy use. Agriculture will be modernized with vertical farming and precision irrigation, guided by real-time climate data. However, the most radical shift may be political. As climate pressure builds, some governments may invoke emergency powers, enforce strict consumption limits, or even nationalize industries to meet emissions goals. The balance between democracy and environmental necessity may be tested. In short, the coming decade will not be about whether governments act, but how effectively and how fairly. Climate change is no longer a distant issue, it's an accelerating force. And it will reshape governance just as profoundly as it reshapes ecosystems.
The WNBA and Brittany Griner, a slam dunk of publicity, problems, and pretending everything's fine. Ah, the WNBA where basketball happens, tickets are occasionally sold, and drama is always free throw. And at the center of this latest power play is none other than Brittany Griner, athlete, icon, international political pawn, and now, bless her professional lightning rod for everything wrong and right with women's basketball. Since returning from her unintended sabbatical in Russia, also known as that time a vape pen started an international standoff, Griner has been back in the WNBA spotlight, though whether that light is illuminating progress or just revealing the league's cracks is up for debate. For starters, there's the travel issue. Griner, understandably a bit rattled from time abroad, requested charter flights for safety. The league, bless their budget, said, sure, but only for her. Nothing like team sports, where one player flies Delta Elite and the rest cram into seat 29B next to a baby and someone eating tuna salad. Then there's the fan attention problem. Griner's games are drawing crowds of protesters, political activists, and exactly 3.5 journalists who still remember how to spell WNBA. The league is simultaneously grateful for the press and terrified of it. It's hard to sell empowerment when the headlines read like Cold War sequels. The WNBA is also wrestling with its image problem. Is it a serious league that deserves equal pay and respect? Or is it a traveling act of forced relevance, now leaning heavily on Griner's name like a franchise player and a PR flotation device all in one? Meanwhile, Griner, for her part, is dunking, blocking, and publicly navigating a comeback that feels like a high-stakes soap opera with sneakers. She's playing hard, speaking out, and somehow managing not to eye-roll every time a politician uses her name for clout. In summary, the WNBA has never been more visible and never more visibly confused. With Brittany Griner at the epicenter, the league has a golden opportunity to rise, or at least stumble upward while trying to keep the drama inbound and the actual basketball inbounds. Game on. I'm Dew Drift and have a sportingly good night.
My movie review tonight is on the action-packed and then unpacked Predator, Badlands, when desert heat meets franchise fatigue. Ah yes, Predator, Badlands, the movie that answers the question absolutely no one asked. What if the Predator ditched the jungle, ignored the city, and decided to go cosplay as a cowboy in a post-apocalyptic parking lot? From the opening scene, where a gravel-voiced narrator mumbles something about the last outpost of humanity while panning over a landscape that looks suspiciously like Arizona in July, you know you're in for a cinematic experience crafted entirely for recycled plot points, half-baked dialogue, and a budget spent mostly on fake sandstorms and helmet polish. Our hero this time? A brooding ex-military drifter with a tragic backstory, a six-pack of abs, and one facial expression, constipated rage. He's joined by a ragtag band of survivors including the tech-savvy kid, the woman who is definitely not his love interest until the script suddenly remembers she should be, and the grizzled old man who exists solely to die dramatically and shout, "It's back!" And then there's the Predator, once a silent, terrifying apex hunter from the stars, now reduced to a sandblasted WWE villain with a toolkit from Home Depot and the grace of a drunk forklift. He's still got the thermal vision, the shoulder cannon, and the same old roar, but somehow this time it all feels tired. Like even he knows the franchise has hit bottom and is just going through the motions until his contract is up. The action scenes? Imagine slow-motion explosions, unnecessary flips, and every bullet missing its target until the last possible second. The climax involves a knife fight between the Predator and our hero on a moving dune buggy because of course it does. In short, Predator, Badlands is a sunbird fever dream of a film, so bad it loops around and becomes almost fun. Almost. If you're into sand, sweat, and sighing at what used to be a great sci-fi villain, this one's for you. Everyone else? Rewatch Predator 1987 and pretend this one wandered off and got lost in the desert. Anyway, I will give it 1 star for effort. Half a star for the Predator's stylish utility belt. Please join with me next time for more exhilarating reviews on movies that bring tears, cheers, and perhaps groans to the curious. This is Chloe Clam Chowder, and good night and stay curious. After all, that is what brings in the money.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are glad you are with us. Stay updated on our latest content. Thanks for your support.